this round Silverstone actually. Amazing little car for what it is. Really sporty, and it feels quite quick. Just again a great little fun car to drive. So we're going to have a review of that, take it out, see what it's like. In all ways, like its ride, handling, that type of thing. As you can see, certainly with this paintwork on it and the red wheels, it just looks really smart, doesn't it?
It does.
Really smart, really, yeah, fun bit of it, fun bit of kit, but a bit more iconic. Now, I'm sure anybody who loves their cars has probably seen this at some point. So this is your Clio Sport V6. So I know Jenson Button had one of these when he first started in Formula 1 actually, and he didn't want to get rid of it. So this is the rear engine Clio. And am I right in saying this is the only rear engine Clio they've got?
They did rear engine Renault 5s, but there's only rear engine Clio.
Yeah, Clio, yeah. So hugely iconic. So I have to admit, I've never driven this before. Have you driven one of these?
Yeah, driven them on track a bit.
Okay,
yeah.
so what are they like?
Oh, they're great. It's like if you think of a 911, you know, so bags of rear end grip, bit of understeer, don't let it get away from you. That's basically what you've got.
What do you mean? Then don't let it get away from you?
Don't let it get away from you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to drive this as well. So I think for me personally, I kind of want to save this till last. Now, in my head, I'm thinking the best till last. It might not be, and of course, this is personal preference. But yeah, we just want to look at some great iconic hot hatches today, and then tomorrow we're going to look at the other end of the spectrum a little bit more. So please stick with us and see what you think.
Perfect.
Hi guys, so we are now in the Megane Trophy R. I was going to say R Trophy. So we're just going to fire it up. Already sounds fab, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got the best of Kenny Rogers on, just to give us a bit of hand as we go along.
Oh, we have as well. We'll take that bit away for now. Yeah, so already just sat here before we've even gone anywhere, you can already feel it's a driver's car. I know that sounds a really bizarre thing to say, but I love the sway steering wheel, but the clutch is really quite heavy duty, so it's got lots of feel to it, but not too heavy, let's say.
Sounds meaty as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I won't rev it too much at the moment because it's got basically a little cooling light, so I assume that will disappear in just a moment when it's warm enough. But yeah, straight away first impressions, really slick, but not too much going on either, which I quite like. Certainly feels really simplistic in here, doesn't it?
It does.
And then for the back, we don't have any back seats, do we, in this?
There is no back.
As you can see, so it looks extra racy. I can imagine the chihuahuas flying around there. Yeah, so at the moment you've got various modes like a lot of the cars. Now you'll probably notice it's quite noisy in here, so it's got a pretty firm ride. I'm really feeling every little bump.
There's not a lot of soundproofing in it.
No, which I've got to admit, for me personally, I don't necessarily mind, but hey, I'm doing a shortish run. I don't know if after a while, for some people will get a bit, find it a bit much.
It would get tiring, I think, on a long journey, but of course it's not really aimed at that kind of
No, exactly. But it does have a really nice sort of direct feel. There's no roll in it. It's quick. It's just shy of 300 brake. It sounds fabulous. And you've got different modes. So if I press this RS mode, it will flash up. So we've just put it into Sport at the moment. So Sport basically changes the power steering now. So it's going to feel a little bit more direct, a little bit heavier on the wheel. So it's going to give me more feedback than what I had before in my neutral setting. It changes the mapping of the engine as well. So it's always throwing a bit more at it and a bit more fuel at it. Now we're in a manual, but if you were in an auto, it would also hold it in the lower gear for longer, using more rev range. So ultimately making the car more sporty. But the great thing with various modes is you can calm the car down to a degree, let's say, or you can enhance it. So you might think, well, Sport is the ultimate mode, but there is actually more, isn't there, Rich, where we can go into a race mode. Now, not necessarily recommending this for the road, but just as a demonstration purpose, we will just briefly show you sensibly. So if I now press race, you actually have to select race up the top, you can't press it here, just so it's a decisive action really. So the big thing with this now is it's switched off traction control and stability control. so it's very much expecting you to be on a race circuit, maximum performance. It's even heavier on the steering, just slightly to sports mode, throwing just a little bit more at it. But it's also, from where you are, you won't be able to see, it's changed my digital display as well now, so it's showing me that safety aids are off. I can hear it popping and crackling a lot more when I lift now. It's pretty much giving me everything at this point. So at this stage, it's not really what I would say you'd really want on the road, but as a track, it's great if you want it.
It's a pretty stiff thing. It feels very sharp, and it doesn't feel bad on the road. You know, it's I've been in worse cars on the road, I think.
I'm not sure that's a compliment. Perhaps it's my driving, Rich.
Yeah, it could be that, but it certainly feels pretty. It feels pretty hard.
Yeah, I've got to say, it sounds fab.
It does sound good.
To be honest, I love the sound of it. I like the pickup on it. It's got a lovely pickup. It's got a lovely heavy clutch. The brakes are really responsive. It reminds me pretty much of a slightly calmer race car, really.
It does have that kind of feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. The only thing I'm not quite sure I'm in love with yet, but this could be lack of experience with this car, is the gearbox. I absolutely adore manuals, but it's almost got a bit of quite a notch between them. Now it's nice to, it's got a nice short throw, it's positive, it just feels very slightly notchy, but hey, it's not done very many miles at all, this car, so that could also be a factor. So for a moment I'm just going to calm it back down a sec, so I'm going to go back, we're going to come out of sport a sec, so we've gone to neutral. So okay, I appreciate on camera it might be hard to fully notice the differences here, but straight away it feels a little bit calmer. When I accelerate, it doesn't feel as sharp. The steering also feels just that little bit lighter as well now, so it just feels a bit easier for just general driving. But you can go into comfort, which is even more than that, so it makes it even more calm in general, really. So yeah, just a nice short little drive. We're just going to head back in because we're going to change now to something a little bit different altogether, into the old school Clio Sport V6. So that's the next thing.
Sounds good to me.
So we will see you back there.
See you in a minute.
Thanks, guys. Hi guys, so we're now in another little hot hatch, shall we say. Richard at the camera again.
Hello.
So yeah, this time we've gone a bit more old school. So
You can tell by the sound it's a little bit different.
it sounds beautiful. So it's a 2.9 V6. This has had some tweaks, so it's almost 300 brake horsepower, this car.
Yeah.
But everything feels just really old school, kind of what you'd expect of an older car. The brakes are immense, actually. One thing, can you hear the radio? I'm not just asking the listeners, by the way, because I think I can hear the radio. Yeah, there we go. Just so you want to hear this, really.
The engine's gone quiet now.
Now I can hear the radio.
You can tell this is not our car.
Yeah, the brakes have very little movement, like a race car. So they're very, very firm, very solid, and they have a very small amount of movement. But that actually makes it easier to regulate. You can actually feel it better as well. So obviously it does make everything a bit more heavy duty, let's say. But it just has such a lovely sound, this, you know, it's high revving.
You can say it's a really sweet noise.
Beautiful sound, but the gearbox is lovely as well. You know, it actually feels more modern than you think, the gearbox. It's very, very smooth, very short throw. But one thing I was just saying to Richard is how bizarrely smooth the ride is. I would have thought we would have been crashing and bouncing about.
Compared with the Trophy R,
yeah,
which
that
is
we've
like
just sat
20 odd years newer.
Yeah, whereas this seems to be giving me the feedback and feel for what's happening underneath me, yet somehow is more subtle and smoother. So now we're cruising in traffic at this moment in time. It just feels really, really easy to drive, which is quite a surprise. What we'll do is, once we're out of traffic, we'll do another little video with obviously in a safe manner, but just being able to explore the car safely on the road a bit more.
Yeah.
And then carry on with what we can do. We've just got to clear some traffic first. Hunter's turn to have a go. So I've decided to finally let him have a drive, which I'm not sure is the right decision, to be fair, but you know, as he gets himself comfortable. It's funny with older cars, you realise the lack of adjustments. The seat itself though is actually really comfortable, but yeah, you're a bit limited on adjustments here. There you go. So yeah, the only rear-engined V6 Clio that they do, but yeah, gosh, you don't get bored of the sound, do you?
No, you don't.
So I will join you this side this time. Never quite as fun in the passenger seat, it has to be said, but you know, I suppose I better let you have a go. Yeah, but what's funny is it is actually quite modern in a bizarre way. I mean,
in some ways,
you'll feel what I mean in that, like the brake. I know you've driven. I mean, I've never driven a Clio V6.
It's a long time since I've driven one.
But you've driven them on track, haven't you? I haven't. Yeah, great though. So it's getting into rush hour, so it's a bit busy at the moment. But hopefully we'll get on some twisty roads and enjoy it a little bit. So simple, you know, we've just come from the Trophy R where you have to press lots of buttons to make it go to sports mode or race mode.
Yeah, is it just in race mode?
Yeah, this is purely race mode through and through, but I'll tell you what, something, I don't know, there's a bit of a petrol head, there's something I just love about that. And as you look round into the back, also you can't see it, but that's where the engine is. There's actually a little cover there. But is it bringing back memories?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the last time I drove one, we would have been around Alton Park, so
bit different,
it's a little bit different, but yeah,
not quite the same, environment. But this is the whole point, though. Is obviously we want to test drive a lot of cars on track as well to give everybody an opportunity to kind of see and what we think of the cars and how they feel. But actually, for majority of our clients and majority of people we know with these beautiful cars, spend their life on the road. So that's where this is great. Okay, yes, at the moment it's rush hour, even though I'm sure at the moment it's still meant to be locked down, but you know, rush hour. So yeah, it's pretty busy, but here we've got a nice country road. I recognise this road and I forgot about this. Yeah, so how's it feel anyway? Just, you know, first impressions back in the car after a long time.
Well, exactly as you said, what amazes me is how compliant it is. It doesn't feel overly harsh or overly stiff. Yeah. Which I thought it, you know, on the road it would do. It feels like you'll have a lot of grip. I mean, there mid-range when it starts to go, it really does start to go. Absolutely, you know, it might give it a little bit of stick. Yeah. As that goes, it's a little bit of a delay while it thinks about it, and then it goes. Well, you know, it's a 20-year-old car. So
yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? But there isn't much of that, is there?
No, not at all. No.
About there.
Well, the electronics in the engine would have been, you know, different to what they are now, where they map and fuel things differently now. They can all the way through the rev range. They can alter things. That technology probably wasn't around when this car was new. So. It's really old school in the way that it delivers the power and the way that it builds.
Yeah, we're very spoiled, aren't we now? In the fact that we've got so many things happening with the engines that we don't even know about half the time. Whereas, of course, this is old school. It's more basic. But what do you think to the gearbox, the way it brakes, the brake pedal feel as well?
The brake pedal's pretty good actually, because again on the Trophy R the brakes can be a little bit snatchy on that.
Yeah.
And like you say, the gearbox is a bit notchy.
Yeah.
You know, the gearbox in this is really smooth and slick.
Absolutely.
You know where you are with it.
Well, straight away, bearing in mind I don't know this car, and I actually know the Trophy R, I felt more comfortable doing heel and toe in this and enjoying this than I did in that straight away. It just felt like everything was a little bit more seamless and fluid.
Yeah, absolutely. This feels more drivable.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is not what I was saying. I would imagine you could get yourself into trouble with this. There's no traction control or anything on it. And being a mid-engine car, it'll do what 911s do. It'll go quite slowly, and then it'll suddenly whip round the other way, and you'll see where you came from.
I think like anything really, you've got to respect it, haven't you? You've got to respect it, and certainly work with it in the safest way. And if you really want to explore it in another way, then that's really when you want to go to a controlled environment like a track.
Yeah.
And get some coaching, just to really learn how to get the best out of it. Because the big thing with a car like this, with this amount of power, and certainly being a bit more old school, is just being precise with it, really, isn't it? Feeding that power in, especially if there is a little bit of a delay, making sure that power doesn't suddenly come in at the wrong point. And but no,
you'd have to treat it with respect, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I think it's a great car, and I've always been itching to drive one because I never have. And obviously growing up, Jensen Button was one of my idols, and I knew he had one and loved it to bits. But yeah, it certainly lived up to my expectations completely, well and truly. So I'll
Good stuff.
yeah, I'll